right, guys, to be brutally honest, man, I wanted to do stand-up because throughout the last 10 years of my life, you have highs and lows, and everything's all good. And then you realize, man, I'm nothing without my wife. I'm nothing without my family. It's true. And the reason why I chose the Ice House is because for the very first time that Tran saw me do comedy, it was right here at the Ice House. That's the reason why I wanted to do it. It's full circle. And my wife, Tran, is a breast cancer survivor going on 10 years cancer-free. 10 years cancer-free. And she is the strongest person I know, all right? All right, here's our story. Tran was breastfeeding Alexa and Zoe when they were 1 year old, and she found a lump on her breast, all right? And then we had to get a biopsy, and it turned out to be benign, according to the path report. And we were fine with that. This is great. It was benign. We're both doctors. Okay, we'll see what it is. Maybe it's an infection. Maybe it's something else. And it got bigger, and it got bigger and bigger, and it wasn't getting better with antibiotics or supportive therapy. And we got it re-biopsied, actually, and it came back stage 3, triple-negative breast cancer with a 23% chance of survival. Spoiler alert, she's here right now. She's healthy. She's doing great. She's doing great. You're the strongest person that I know, because 2 days before she started her chemotherapy, where she would lose all of her hair and become really weak, she decided she took her 8-hour standardized board exam, the one that I failed, and she passed it with flying colors. And I'm thinking to myself, that hoe, it's just so great. And she's such a champ. She has the presence of mind. She goes, you know what? I'm gonna beat the cancer, so I might as well beat that exam. She's so clutch, man. She was like Reggie Miller against the Knicks in '95, where she's like scoring like fucking 8 points to beat. She's Vietnamese Reggie Miller. That's what she is. Or she's Vietnamese John Cena, but she doesn't do this fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? Sidebar, by the way, I hosted WWE Raw with John Cena years ago, and WWE asked me to host it. They're like, oh, do you want to do this? I'm sure. I'm an actor. I'm fake. Wrestling's fake. What could go wrong, all right? And then on the day, John Cena lifts me up for a body slam, throws me over the top rope, and the 5 motherfuckers who were supposed to catch me didn't. Wrestling is fucking real. Throws me over the top rope. I hit the concrete. My head hits the wooden plank. You hear the sound of my head hitting the plank. I had to call Tran after Raw went off the air to ensure I'm okay. My whole point is John Cena absolutely sucks. He does, I'm just saying. But getting back to my wife, a fucking miracle happened, dude. After the first dose of chemotherapy, after the first dose of Adriamycin, all her cancer went away. It was amazing. We did a blood test, all normal. We did an MRI, all normal. PET scan, CAT scan, ultrasound, mammogram, all normal. It was a miracle from God, Allah, Oprah, or Tom Cruise. I tell you, I think it was Tommy. I really do. Which brings me, by the way, to my next point, or my next medical tip. All right, dude, if any woman who wants to get a mammogram for any reason, ask your doctor to get a mammogram. If you're concerned about breast cancer, ask your doctor for a mammogram for any reason. And if that doctor says you can't get a mammogram because you don't fall under the criteria, go to another fucking doctor who will get you that mammogram, all right? That's what I'm passionate about. We gotta stand up to cancer, and that's what we gotta do. And it was at the same point where we found out Tran's cancer was gone, I got offered the part of Mr. Chow in The Hangover. And I turned it down, actually, because Tran had 12 more rounds of chemo to go. You have to go full circle with that. You gotta go more chemo, more radiation, more procedures. And I'm like, no, I don't wanna leave my family. Tran was like, it's only like a 4-day trip out in Vegas. You'll be fine. This will be healthy for you. You and I both know on the inside tip that the cancer is gone. I'm like, no, I don't think I can do that. And it was actually Todd Phillips, the writer writer-director of The Hangover. He did Old School with Vince Vaughn and Will Ferrell. He convinced me to do the movie. Directors are like, by nature, like fucking geniuses. They're evil manipulators. That's what they are. Like in Hangover 3, okay, I was doing a scene with John Goodman in a Bangkok prison, and I was just doing this scene, and there's a Thai toddler who's like 3 years old, and basically I was like trying to do some improv in my acting, hoping maybe that scene will make it in. So I look at the toddler, I surprise him, I go, "What are you looking at, you little shit?" And he starts crying. You know, it was like, so I didn't make it in the movie. And then, so Todd comes out of the video booth like, "Chow, come on!" And he's like yelling at me like a dog. Like he never calls me Ken. I'm like, "Bad Chow, like a dog." And if he had a newspaper, he'd hit me with it. And it was like, "Apologize." I said, "I am so sorry." "Apologize to the mother." "I am so sorry." "Good." And he turns around, whispers in my ear, "Do it again." Amazing. By the way, it was my idea to get naked in The Hangover. Did you guys know that? Yep, that's right. My wife said it'll be the feel-good movie of the summer because every guy will go home feeling good about themselves. That's my hope, so. But if anyone like kind of broke me out of my depression, it was Todd Phillips. And by the way, I didn't cry for 6 months, you know, because I wanted to be strong for my family, and I actually prescribed myself antidepressants. Of all the shit I could prescribe myself, like weed, oxycodone, all these drugs, even the pharmacist looked at my script, said, "Celexa, pussy," you know? Wow, this is the most aggressive Rite Aid I've ever been to. And when you're on an antidepressant, you can't cry. Lord knows I tried. I tried stabbing myself in the balls, manipulating my taint. Most of my approaches were genital-based. Now, but if anyone broke me out of that spiral and made me cry, it was Todd Phillips. This guy fucking saved my life, because he went to me every day. He'd say, like, because he comes from a family of oncologists, he knew the situation. He said, "Look, we don't have to finish the movie with you in it. We can always do pickups and reshoots around you. This is a big blockbuster Hollywood movie. No director will ever offer this." But he said to me, "I will make sure that I'll fly you from Vegas to LA every time Tran has her chemo," and he did. He did not have to do that. It was amazing. And on the last day of filming, Bradley Cooper actually drove me from Vegas to LA to see Tran and to see how she was doing. These guys, everyone, go back full circle. Everyone's like, "Why do you love The Hangover so much? Why is the best thing that ever happened in my life?" Because it saved my fucking life, all right? It was so therapeutic to me. Even if I wasn't rich and famous, which I am. And on my last day of filming, Todd, I got really emotional, and for the first time in months, I just started breaking down and crying. I was like, "Thank you so much, man. I just, you know, you have no idea what you did for me." And I was just teary-eyed, and I went in for a hug, and Todd's just like, I don't know, because he's not a hugger. I'm like, "What the fuck, dude? I just bared my soul to you." He goes, I was like, "Oh, what the?" And then I realized my dick was on his thigh. It was...